The first night of the Eric Bischoff era was heavily hyped for Raw on July 22, targeted as another reboot show for the product with already boosted interest coming off the Vengeance pay-per-view last night, with Rock as advertised since last Thursday set to make a rare Raw appearance tonight as the new Undisputed Champion for the first time under the WWE name, opening the show to introduce a new era of Raw to bring out Triple H as the new signing on the Raw brand, followed by Shawn Michaels as Hunter's manager to set up the confrontation with Michaels and Eric going back and forth to see the segment opening Raw way above the recent average with a 3.7 rating and over 5 million viewers, the highest rated opening quarter on Raw in almost 3 months, and with the company looking to remind or introduce Eric Bischoff to the WWF audience. Last Saturday's Confidential took another major step in that direction, with Eric's career covered in the headline segment of the show, which included the first time both Bischoff and McMahon told their side of the story in separate shoot interviews, talking about all the heated moments during the Monday Night Wars, including the talent jumps and Eric giving away the results of the tape draw, with Vince saying that while he can't separate the professional business from the personal issues as he always did in his career, including just recently with Hulk Hogan returning to the company, the decision to hire Eric was done for the better of the product as he's an excellent performer, with this segment also strategically ending with a bomb to drive potential additional hype for Raw on Monday, with Bill Goldberg all but officially teased to make an appearance on the show as the first signing of Bischoff to the Raw brand, saying that he's gonna talk with him about coming in when they legitimately set to meet at the Sturgis motorcycle rally in early August, with Goldberg in an internet chat on his website earlier in the day on Monday responding to the rumors of him potentially debuting on the night, saying that he's considering all offers but he has yet to meet anyone from WWE to start negotiations, with the Bischoff-Michaels-Hunter segment seeing Hunter attempting to get Shawn to come back with a planned shot at Steve Austin telling him not to take his ball and walk out like Austin did, with the company set to bring up the issue again in the near future with Austin's departure and the behind-the-scenes story in the lead-up to it set to be covered in the new issue of Raw magazine next month. While minutes after the big opening segment, Raw continued to set the stage for the night with a major opening match seeing Van Dam vs Jeff Hardy in a title unification ladder match, with Van Dam going over in 7 minutes to write off the European title in the second quarter, jumping over 700,000 viewers to a 4.2 rating. After the past 2 months in more of a tweener role during the majority of his title run, Undertaker officially turned babyface in his first appearance after losing the title, with him now back to being an exclusive Raw performer, with the company looking to make an impact on Eric Bischoff's first night in charge, implementing several WCW and Nitro elements into the show creatively and visually, with one of them being the Raw announcers table being moved near the entrance ramp in a similar setup to the original Monday Nitro announcers team, with JR and Lawler, who reportedly preferred the original layout with a table at ringside to feel the crowd close to the ring. Also seeing an issue coming up before the Vengeance pay-per-view last night, with JR and King reportedly only notified on Sunday hours before the event on them sharing the broadcast, with Michael Cole and tasked to only work the second half of the show and the angle playing off the two separate brands, with another return on the night seeing Rhino making his first TV appearance since undergoing neck surgery last November to set up a potential angle when he is cleared to return later in the year, with JR on Friday putting his targeted return date for early November, along with updating on the status of Kane, with him set to return in the next 2 weeks from the arm injury suffered in March. After taking only 4 commercial breaks during the first hour in an unusual formatting compared to the usual layout of 5 breaks in each hour for Raw, New Undisputed Champion Rock came out for the crossover segment 6 minutes from 10 p.m. after winning the new WWE title belt for an industry record 7 time and a strong contender for the greatest triple threat match of all time against Angle and Taker, with JR and Lawler followed by Rock to start the promo, putting it over as one of the greatest matches in history before bringing up his promise to Bischoff last Thursday of showing up to Raw as Undisputed Champion with Rock, who was already advertised for several Raw shows even before the title win on Sunday, now officially set to appear on both brands to boost attendance and viewership over the next month, with Rock interrupted by Eddie Guerrero to close the hour with a quarter-high 4.4 rating to see it drawing the most watched first hour of Raw in over a month, with over 5.5 million viewers and an over 500,000 viewers increase over last Monday, with Eddie in his first promo segment with Rock, with him over the past 2 years only facing off in several multi-man tag matches, bringing up a story of seeing a Scorpion King poster in his daughter's room followed by him ripping it off the wall, setting up a memorable promo exchange with Rock and Eddie exchanging shots in one of Eddie's highlight career segments that elevated him behind the scenes on the way to getting an opportunity as a legit main event player going forward, with perhaps the biggest one coming tonight, with Eddie challenging Rock to set up the first ever Rock vs Guerrero singles match for the main event, with this segment closing with Rock singing a special version of La Bamba, jumping over 1 million viewers to peak the night with a 4.8 rating and over 6.7 million viewers despite only crossing 6 minutes past 10 p.m., followed immediately by Brock Lesnar coming out for his scheduled match to walk past Rock with no acknowledgement in their first ever on-screen interaction to start the build to the now set SummerSlam main event, with Lesnar's match against Tommy Dreamer going 3 minutes in the second half of the quarter, also strategically placed to follow Rock without going to a commercial break in the middle to give Brock the maximum exposure in front of the biggest audience of his career to date, with the massive lead in viewership expected for Rock's title win promo. After the near 20-minute commercial-free block for the Rock-Eddie Lesnar segments, the company made up for the unusual formatting of only taking 4 breaks at 10:11 p.m. by stringing 3 commercials in a short span over the next 2 quarters, seeing the show dropping from the peak of the previous segment to the show's average with a 4.2 rating to stay in that range for almost the rest of the hour, while in the middle featuring the debut of perhaps the most talked about tag team in the WWE's HWA and OVW developmental territories over the past year, with the Island Boys making their TV debut as Eric Bischoff's insurance to interrupt the match after giving it 3 minutes to entertain him, with the Eric-inspired show on the night seeing the company in one of the only times since buying it in March 2001. Presenting a WCW-related concept in a positive light as part of the TV product, with Eric booking Booker T vs Chris Benoit in a rematch of their Best of 7 series of matches on WCW television in mid-1998, seeing Benoit and Booker going 6 minutes for a shot at the IC title, with Benoit going over to set up another highly anticipated first-time ever match with Benoit vs Van Dam for next Monday, followed by Bischoff joining commentary for the first time on WWE television in his first on-screen interaction with JR after years of heated back-and-forth shots between them, including during Saturday's confidential piece with JR stating on his weekly report a day before the story aired that he asked the production crew if they wanted his true feelings on Eric or the TV version, with Raw after a loaded show with major angles in almost every quarter, seeing perhaps the biggest one taking place at 10:45 p.m. with the DX music hitting to bring out Michaels and Hunter for the reuniting of the original group to a massive reaction, seeing both in a DX shirt for the first time since the night of WrestleMania 14 in March '98 to set up the major swerve of Hunter turning heel on Michaels minutes later in the start of the build to Michaels and ring comeback after over 4 years. After the past 2 hours of one of the most eventful broadcasts of the year, with the company looking to establish the new direction for the product to go along with the new televised regime, the first ever Rock vs Eddie Guerrero match saw the entrances taking place at 10:55 p.m. with Rock and Eddie going 9 minutes into the 9-minute overrun, seeing Raw with a major curiosity and creative boost on the night, coming off the Eric Bischoff debut and last night's pay-per-view, jumping over half a rating point on the recent average to a 4.3 rating in the biggest week-to-week rating jump since the day after WrestleMania 18 in March, with the near 3-month high viewership of over 5.8 million viewers throughout the night on the back of the most watched hour of Raw since the first WWE show on May 6 between 10 to 11:09 p.m., averaging over 6.1 million viewers. Driven strongly by the hour-long Rock and Eddie dynamic, with their 2 segments peaking the show by an over 500,000 viewers margin from any other quarter on the night, as the match, which saw Rock and Eddie putting on a TV version of a potential major pay-per-view headline match performance to close a career breakthrough night for Eddie, with Rock as he did to Angle and Jericho for their first major title wins over the past 2 years, with Lesnar next on the list at SummerSlam, putting over Eddie strong throughout, highlighted by one of the smoothest counters in history, with Eddie getting out of the Rock bottom in a memorable spot just before the finish, with Rock vs Guerrero gaining over 700,000 viewers to a 4.6 rating with over 6.6 million viewers in the overrun, which also included a major show-closing angle with Rock and Lesnar going face-to-face for the first time, followed by Brock officially jumping to SmackDown to counter the Triple H move to Raw.